Aloha, my friends. Today is Aloha Friday. And I want you to know that I want you to have an awesome weekend and get ready to learn some Xlookup features. Woohoo! Gee-hoo! All right, everybody, how's it going? Stay positive, live in aloha, opening up your mind so that you can learn some more Xlookup today. So check it out. Yesterday we talked about the Xlookup, and the Xlookup is a lot of fun, and it's a way to replace the vlookup and index and match. So let me just show you. Yesterday we set up Xlookup that would look up the employee ID, then give us the employee name. And then we learned that there's a feature called spilling. And this Xlookup, we were able to set it up so that it would spill over and give us the results for this column, as opposed to a vlookup where I would have to have two vlookups, right? We'd have to have a vlookup here to look up the employee name and a vlookup to look up the department. In this case, we just have one Xlookup that takes care of everything. We talked about a few different arguments inside of the Xlookup: the lookup value, the lookup array, the return array, and then the ID not found. That would replace us having to nest a VLOOKUP inside of an if statement. So if it doesn't find this, then tell us this. Okay. Here inside the Xlookup, that isn't actually an argument. It's an optional argument that we can add. So in this case, we added the ID not found. Typically, the Xlookup defaults to an exact match. That was the false in the VLOOKUP. At the last optional argument inside of a VLOOKUP was a true or a false. True was an approximate match. False was an exact match. In the Xlookup, the match mode defaults to exact match. However, there's a couple of different options that we can give it. And then we've got the search mode. And the search mode also allows us the ability to search from the bottom up or the top down or wildcard. Well, we're going to talk about the match mode and the search mode today. So let's go ahead and take a look right here. This is the match mode in action. So it's always going to give me an exact match here. Here is my Xlookup. Let me go into my Xlookup from the insert function dialog box. And so here we have the Xlookup. The lookup value is this cell. What are we looking up? The lookup array, where we're looking it up. And then right over here, this column was the return array, is the return array. We didn't put anything in the match mode because it defaults to exact match. And so here we're going to always have an exact match. So if I put a country outside of the countries that are in this array, like for example, Taiwan, then we're going to get an NA right here. And then we could also have fixed this by going into the ID not found and putting something right in here that we want to return it instead of an NA. Well, today what we're going to work on is doing an approximate. We're going to learn about the match mode options and the search mode and why I did that. And then next week's live stream, we're going to go even deeper into the Xlookup, and we're going to show you how the Xlookup can be used to replace the index and match. So now here I go. Let me press OK and show you, for example, the minimum tax rate is 10%. So any amount that you make less than 9,700 is up to 9,700 is 10%. So let's say you make 9,800. Now your tax rate is going to be 22%. Check it out, right? Here we have, you made over 9,700. So here's what we did. The Xlookup, what did it look up? 9,800. Where did it look it up? It looked it up right in here. It went down. It started looking from the top down until it finds 9,800. If it can't find 9,800, it goes to the next closest past 9,700. So here's 9,700. The next one is 39,000 is the next limit. So anywhere up to 39,475, it's going to be 22% from 9,701 on. And so it's telling me the tax rate is 22%. Watch, I'm going to put in 200,000. And the tax rate for this is going to be what? If you said 32%, you would have been wrong. Because look, the minimum is 100, or up to 160,726 is 32%. So if I would have put 159,000, whoops, excuse me, that's a high tax rate. Let's just watch this. What if it's 600,000? Right? It's above the 510,300 limit for the 37% tax rate. Boom, call the IRS. Yep. So then why don't we go ahead and learn how to use the match mode and the search mode. Check it out. All right, there we have it. Boom. Our data list right here. So we've got our income and we've got our tax rate. Here we've got the max income and here we have the tax rates. So what we're going to do is we're going to put an Xlookup right inside this cell. That's going to give us the tax rate based on the income. And it's going to give us an approximation based on how we set it up. So here we have it. Let's go ahead and start typing equals. Let me zoom in right here so you can see real good. Remember, equals is you commanding Excel. We rule Excel. You rule Excel. Excel doesn't rule you. Remember that. Command Excel. I want to do an Xlookup. All right. So now I'm going to go ahead and tab into it. And then I'm going to click on my insert function tool. I like to call it the formula builder. Click on the insert function tool, and here we see all our function arguments. So let me get a little bit closer here. And for the lookup value, what are we looking up? We're looking up whatever's in cell A2. And the lookup array, the income, that's this column right here. So I press Control Shift arrow down just to select that range of data, or also could have clicked and dragged. Then the return array is the tax rate that we're looking for. Okay, so now here is where, what do we want to say if not found? Well, I'm just going to put call the IRS. There we go. And then now for the match mode, if I leave it at 0, it's going to give me an exact match. So if I put in 9,800, 9,800 is not, it's not in the salary column, in the income column. So it's going to give me an error. So I don't want that. If the top rate of 10% or at 10%, 97,000, anything over 9,700, anything over 9,700 is going to be the 22% rate. So I want it to give me a match mode of 1, which means that it's going to look for an exact match. And then if it doesn't find it, go to the next highest number. Well, how do I know what match mode 1 means, or -1 or 0? Well, the help menu has gotten really good in Excel. Before it wasn't that great, but it's gotten a lot better now. I really like the help menu now, and I encourage you to go check it out. However, I always emphasize that you got to understand the proper terminology so that you can find the right answers. In this case, we're right inside the function arguments dialog box for the Xlookup. So when we click on help with this function, it's going to take us right to Microsoft, and it's going to open up web page where it talks about the Xlookup. And when we look here at the syntax, we can see for the match mode, we can see that 0 will give us an exact match, which is the default. -1 gives us an exact match. And however, if none is found, look what it does. It goes to the next smaller item. If we use the 1, it's going to look for an exact match. And if none is found, it's going to return the next larger item. And then we've got a wildcard match right here. Let's scroll down just a little bit further and take a look right here in the search mode. And once again, like the ID not found, match mode, and search mode, these are all optional. Anytime you see an argument inside of a function that has brackets on it, that means that it is optional. And in this case, if we put 1 in the search mode, it's going to perform a search from the top down. And that's the default. -1 performs a reverse search from the bottom up. And then we've got 2 and -2 right there that we can use depending on what our needs are. So what I'm doing here is we want the match mode to be 1. When it looks for the exact match, 9,700, or let's say 9,800, it doesn't find the 9,800, then it looks for the next highest match, which would be the 39,475 salary. And for the search mode, I wanted to search from the top down. So I'm going to put 1. And then already we're starting to see some results right here. And that looks like it's correct. So I press OK. And yes, angels. Don't you just love that? When you hear angels in Excel. And now look. So if I go right ahead and say, well, it's 9,800, it's going to look for 9,800. It's not going to find an exact match. So it's going to look up to the next highest number, which would be 39,475. So 9,800 is past 9,700. And the next highest match is 39,475. So that's a 22% tax rate. Just like that. Isn't that great? Got to stay positive, focused on the positives. And I recommend that you just always keep on learning. And go check out don'tgetmadgetskills.com. When you go to don'tgetmadgetskills.com, go over here to live classes and click on workshops. And when you click on workshops, it's going to take you right to this page right here that has the upcoming workshops. And October 12th, we've got this learn how to write formulas and use functions in Excel. I've done that training several times, that workshop, and it's always a big hit. Scroll down a little bit further, you're going to see that October 14th and 15th, we are doing a killer 30 favorite shortcuts, tips, and tricks workshop. I've been working on this workshop for years, constantly updating all the new tips and tricks to keep us right up to date. And you're going to love it. I love teaching it. And then we've got highlights from past workshops and webinars right here. So come on now. Everything's hands-on. Keep on learning. Check out the Xlookup and see how you can use it to replace the vlookup, the Xlookup, and the index and match. Stay tuned for next week. So I'm going to show you how to use the Xlookup to replace the index and match. And my friends, like I always say, keep on learning. I love you. And most of all, don't get mad. Get skills. Aloha Friday.